Proof that you can craft a life you love. We'd love to welcome to the show Amy Tangerine. She's an author and designer and an incredible inspiration. I'm so glad you're here today.
Thank you.
So nice to meet you. You're so, everything's colorful. Everything's colorful everywhere, right?
Well, I had to wear this shirt, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Walking brand right here. What I love about you and your book is that you've really been able to teach people how to channel their creative energies into actually creating something.
Yeah, because think about how many ideas you have and how many actually come to fruition. And people are so funny because they're like, oh, it's so nice that you do that. It's so great that you find time for scrapbooking. I just don't have the time. But we all have the same amount of time. It's what we choose to spend it on.
Yeah, it's so funny. One of my best friends, I went over to her house the other day and she's like, look at that, I built a lamp. And I'm like, you did what? And she's like, well, my husband has these empty tequila bottles. I just thought it was beautiful. And so I was like, wow, I'm so incredibly inspired by that because I feel like I don't have that DIY gene. I've got a great idea, but I can't get it all the way to the end.
Exactly who that is,
yeah.
by
the way. Crafting is a huge industry. So tell us, how did you get started in this?
I've always been very crafty. My mom would set up projects for us on the weekends. I'm an only child, so I would spend a lot of my time being bored. And I would say, oh my gosh, I have nothing to do. And my dad would say, go make something, go do something. So creativity has always played this large part of my life. And it's just a dream that I've been able to make it what I do for a living. It didn't happen on purpose. It actually happened very accidentally. I was designing clothes in the fashion industry, t-shirts, and I was hand stitching them, and they got some traction. Cindy Crawford was photographed in Glamour magazine wearing one.
Some traction. I mean, come on. This is an award-winning t-shirt line. Your designs have been in Bloomies and Neiman's. I mean,
that's
incredible.
Full traction.
Full traction.
It's pretty cool. But what's so funny about that is that at that time I was in my early 20s, and it was great. It was a wonderful experience, but I felt like something was missing. And it wasn't until I went into a scrapbooking store that I had driven by many times. And I walked in and I just fell in love with all the stickers and it sounds so silly, but I felt like a little kid in a store where I could actually afford to buy things. And I just love the idea of capturing your memories in photographs and then putting these decorations next to it and alongside it to share with your family and friends.
Oh, I love it.
I wonder why people love crafting. I wonder where this all comes from, really?
I think it gives you a sense of fulfillment in a way that you can make something with your hands and you can see it from start to finish. And I think that's why a lot of people don't think that they're creative, because they're like, oh, well, I like that, and I can admire that, but I can never do that myself. But I believe that everybody is creative.
I absolutely agree with you.
Completely.
When are you at your creative best?
Oh gosh, I am so funny because I think that this is how a lot of artistic minds work, and it ranges. It just depends on the day. So what I've really had to do is set myself up in the morning to be fully creative at that time. And I don't try to let anything bother me at the beginning of the day because I find that that could set you off, and I like to be in flow. So whatever that is to get me in flow is what I have to do and really practice that on a daily basis.
What does the flow feel like for you?
So you know those times where you look at the clock and you can't believe that 2 hours has passed?
Yes.
That's what feels like flow. And it's usually not scrolling on Instagram, scrolling through Pinterest, although that does happen. And I think that that's a great place to get inspiration if you're lacking it. But at the same time, to me, it's all about the work.
Right.
So doing the work makes me feel better.
Has it always been easy for you?
No, I wish. And you know, a lot of people say that. They're like, oh my gosh, you're so happy all the time and it's so great. But when I first moved to LA, I had a company relocate me. They paid for my relocation. I got here, I bought a car that morning, and a week later, they let me go.
No.
So I thought that I would have this job. I didn't have a place to live. I was staying at the Viceroy Hotel. Not a good place to stay if you're paying for it.
With your brand new car.
Yeah.
I know, right?
And no job. Yeah.
Yes,
So.
Yeah.
exactly. But I found my footing, and my dad gave me a very wise piece of wisdom and said, you're lost in the right place.
Oh, wow.
And that was sort of life-changing to me, and realizing that I would have never taken initiative on my own to make this huge move at 25 years old, you know, only knowing a few people, and taking that chance, and it's all about taking those leaps of faith.
I love that. You're lost in the right place.
Yeah.
And
love
that's
that.
all of life, right?
Yeah.
He sounds really brilliant. Right? Yeah.
Well, you are, and you've channeled that into some amazing designs and collaborations on Amazon right now. Amy and Avery, tell us a little bit about it.
Yes, so I love the fact that I am actually partnered with Avery, and they reached out and they wanted to do a collaboration for binders and folders. And these
So
are just some of
cute.
them, and we have a discount code too for everybody.
Oh, I love a
yeah,
discount.
so we were able
cute.
to create these designs. They're colorful and fun, and I love school supplies. When I was little, I used to play school and office. I know that sounds really strange. I had a very sad childhood. No, I'm just kidding. I had a very great childhood, but it was one of those things where I just spent a lot of time, wanting to create something with my hands. And the fact that people can take these either for back to school or moms to organize their lives, I think in a tangible way, it makes sense to see it all in front of you.
Oh, absolutely. And be inspired by it. There's nothing more boring than a plain black binder, right? So to see something that's colorful and vibrant and inspires you to maybe want to get into that book and work on it or organize yourself.
Such a good point, Jessalyn. Because I played no school and no office. And if I had this, I may have played school and office. But I was just trying to get out of school the whole time so I could go play outside. That was it.
So tell us a little bit about your book. What can they expect if they grab your book?
Yeah, so it's in the self-help and self-improvement section at our personal development section in Barnes & Noble. And it was actually something that was a passion project of mine. I had self-published it and did it on Amazon CreateSpace. And then it got picked up by a publisher. Abrams brought out the new edition. It's expanded, it's in color, and it's really about infusing more creativity, fun, and intention into your everyday.
I love this. So can you talk to us a little bit about that? Because I think it's a path that is undervalued. Lots of my favorite authors self-publish, and then they get picked up later by big traditional publishers. So can you talk to us a little bit about that? Like, how did that happen?
My mindset going in was, if I'm going to write a book proposal, look, nobody was knocking down my door saying, here, write a book. And so I decided that I would just put all my energy into writing the actual book. And it wasn't until I met an editor friend who said to me, you're never going to write a book until you write a bad first draft. And after you write that bad first draft, hand it to me. And I was just like, wow, this is just amazing. So I hired her, got some momentum, hired the book cover designer and the interior layout designer, all the things that I couldn't do, and really just got an awesome team together. And I put it out there without expectation. I just wanted to be able to make the money back that I had paid out to these professionals and these artists, and then I would be happy, with the way that it turned out. And even if I didn't make up that money, I think I still would have been happy and pleased. If it made a difference to 2 people reading the book, then it has done its job.
It's so well curated. The pages are so beautiful. It's so inspiring. I love the quotes. Be grateful for everything that you have and all that you don't have. So true. And it's also a great way for you to actually incorporate what you're learning and do a little homework, right? I mean, so right here, you can tell us about the activity, how it makes you feel, the notes. It's so vital to be able to have like a workbook in a book.
Yeah, I think that doing the work has to do with actually putting pen to paper. I mean, so much of the time we spend on our digital devices. This is an ebook and it is also available as an audiobook, but I think that having it in your hands and really taking it with you and journaling inside and doing the exercises really helps you achieve your goals.
Wow, just love it.
So we have to ask you about today's topic because it looks like are you married?
Yes.
Yeah. So obviously the science of being single versus relationship. Tell us a little bit about what's worked for you.
Well, my partner and I were together for 9 years, and we decided in December to have a surprise wedding. We had about 22 of our family in town for Christmas, and we did it the day after and surprised them. So there were only 3 of us who knew, my husband, me, and the guy who married us, his cousin. And we just surprised everybody by saying that we're going to take a photo to watch the sunset by the beach and for everybody to wear something that they want to be photographed in. And then we had everything planned, and it was awesome. Yeah, it was wonderful. Yeah. So I do love being in a relationship.
Yeah.
I think if you find somebody who you adore being with and who can walk alongside you and embrace the adventures, then it makes just life more fun. The whole experience of life. And we have a son. We did things backwards. So we were together for 4 years, had a baby, bought a house, did all these things out of order, but I wouldn't have it any other way.
So
I just
great.
love that.
Totally inspiring.
Yeah. What qualities or traits do you most love in your husband?
You know, it's so funny because I don't think that he views himself the same way I do. I see so much potential in him, and the fact that, I mean, he ran 2 marathons in the past, I don't know, 3 months.
Wow.
And he was not a long distance runner before, you know? I mean, he was in decent shape, but he just made this shift in his lifestyle and mindset, and I'm just so proud of him, you know? I think there's so many great things that we all possess inside of us, and if we're able to share that with the world, that's the truest gift.
Wow, it's so powerful. Just love that.
Lucky, lucky, lucky. It's so wonderful. I love your work. It's so fun and so much color. Just makes my day happier.
I
see
know.
Things like
Thank
that.
you.
Absolutely.
Such a pleasure. And where can everyone find you?
I'm amytangerine.com and Amy Tangerine on most social media. I have an active Instagram and YouTube, so come say hi.
Okay, good.
Pick up the book at Barnes & Noble, order on
Amazon.
Amazon. Great, beautiful collaborations. Get ready for going back to school and come back for more on Good Morning La La Land.
We'll be right back, you guys. Stay tuned.